I'm Lesley Logan, co-founder of onlinepilatesclasses.com, and today we're answering your question from the comments about pelvic stability when doing big frogs with the leg springs. And we'll just kind of talk about pelvic stability in general. Before I answer that question, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this channel. It really does mean the world to me. I absolutely love seeing the comments about how these videos help you, how these lives help you. I love seeing your questions. I love when you come over to Instagram and share that with me as well. It's really wonderful and it's exciting. This channel has been around, my gosh, over 10 years now, and it's quite incredible how many people we've gotten to meet. And speaking of meeting, we are going to meet you in real life, I hope, over on our West Coast tour and into Canada. If you cannot join the tour, there is a virtual option with our Calgary stop. So if you go to opc.me/tour, you can see the 15 cities that we are going to. In July and August, we have classes, we have workshops, we get to meet in real life. It's so fun. We've got prizes. Bounce Body is our sponsor for this tour, and we're going to do 3 cities in Canada. There's only space left in the Kamloops and Calgary stops. And as I said, the Calgary stop does have virtual options for the workshop. So there's 2 workshops. So you can live anywhere in the world and join the virtual option for Calgary. The space is very limited though, so you want to get your ticket to that. You can go to opc.me/Calgary for the virtual options of the Calgary stop, or opc.me/tour to see all 15 cities. Okay, let's talk about pelvic stability. Here is the deal. For the teachers watching this, please don't tell people to stabilize their pelvis anymore. It doesn't mean anything to them. And I know that sounds really direct and extremely pointed, but one of the things I hear all the time is, oh, stabilize your pelvis. Oh, stabilize this. I even hear like squares. They can't. When I'm doing leg springs, I cannot see my pelvis. Okay. I also can only feel what is touching the mat, right? So if I'm someone who's used to living in a tuck and you want me to stabilize my pelvis because it's going back and forth, if the mat is really squishy, I have no feeling of that, right? So that's why I like the Contrology Cadillac, because it's pretty firm. It's not hard, it's just firm. So I personally can feel, because when I have my pelvis stable, in air quotes, then when I push my legs out and in, it doesn't move, right? So you can't tell people to stabilize their pelvis. You have to teach them what they need to do to have a stable pelvis. I'll say that one more time. Instead of telling people to stabilize their pelvis, teach their body, train the muscles that are required to have a stable pelvis. So, big frogs was the question. How do I stabilize my pelvis in big frogs? Big frogs is this exercise. The feet go down to the mat, they slide across the mat, the legs open up, the legs lift, they close, they bend in. So many different points where this pelvis can move. I There's also, just to muddy the waters a little bit, there's also this version of Big Frog. Push the feet down, open the legs, lift the pelvis, pull the legs together, and bend it in. In that case, we don't want a stable pelvis in theory, right? We want the pelvis to follow the legs. But let's just use the first version to start. So ideally, you're not tucking the pelvis. You're also not sticking your butt out, right? You have this nice length and a really tall back. So one of the things we have to do is the center working. So the center is the muscles around the hips, the stomach, the muscles around the back, and the muscle around the shoulder. That's why you have to have your arms on poles. That's going to help you stabilize the upper part of your center, right? I can pull or I can push on these poles. Ideally, you should push, but from down here, I can push into these poles. Then, when I engage the spring, I should have these muscles on. So my pelvis shouldn't move, right? I can do big frogs in this direction, lower the legs, bring them together, and pull it in. If my pelvis is bouncing around in those movements, if it's moving around, one of the signs is I'm not ready for this exercise yet. I haven't been taught how to stabilize my pelvis. So when they're doing regular frogs, just this right here, does their pelvis stay still? If it doesn't, what is their pelvis doing in footwork on the reformer? The footwork on the reformer, the bar is still, right? So that's why it's called a reformer. The pelvis should be stable. If it's not stable there, then the question is, where are they tight, right? What are you doing to open the front of the hips? So something that is happening is they might be pushing from their back instead of their seat. I can't see this person, so I have to like come up with what are all the things that are going wrong. They could be pushing from their back instead of their hamstrings, inner thighs, and outer hips. Their hip flexors could be really tight. therefore always pulling their pelvis in as opposed to their center pulling it in. So for everybody doing this, is your pelvis rocking back and forth on footwork? If so, when you're in a closed chain with a very stable platform, we have to stretch the front of the hips, teach you how to move your legs from your center, right? Strengthen the back of the thighs. You need fast. You need my fast workshop, right? We have to do that before we can do it here. This is an unstable platform. My feet are not in something stable. Yes, I have access to springs, but not stable. So if you want to go, oh, but Lesley, they're stable on footwork. They're not stable on big frogs or with leg springs. Great. Guess what we have? Single leg springs. So in single leg springs, we take the spring from across, put it on the foot, and now I have this knee bent. I see a lot of people doing this exercise with this leg straight. You can't do that because it's going to pull the pelvis out of alignment. You bend this knee, it allows the hips to be equal. This foot is working, it's pushing down, energetically pulling back, and then I can work one leg. And so instead of my body, which has a hard time stabilizing with two springs, I can work on stabilizing with one, right? This out and in, this is part of the big frogs. Push it out, this up and down, this is part of the big frogs, right? Then there's a bicycle action where I pull it back. I see a lot of people doing that. That's not it. You got to pull it back to where you are still controlling the springs, pick it up, put it down, slide it out, lift it up, right? So if I can do this and have a stable pelvis, I can actually also find by doing the other side, which side of my body is stronger. Maybe the person's stability problem isn't equal. Maybe it's one-sided, right? So the only way to figure this out is to not focus solely on the one exercise they have a hard time stabilizing. Big frogs is really hard. It's actually on like, what is the other exercise before it that revealed to me that their pelvis isn't stable? Because that's not the first time it has happened. And then what are you seeing? Are you seeing rocking side to side, front to back? Then we have to open what's tight, strengthen what's weak, use the big frogs to let you know as a barometer, as a tool, how far you're coming along. But for the teachers watching, not saying stabilize your pelvis. They don't know what that means. You have to teach them how to move the springs from the muscles and not from reacting, right, from their center. And that's just really the thing that's really hard to do. It's hard to do. It's not easy to do. The other thing I want to address is look at how narrow my poles are. I believe if I measured these, it's like about 22.5 inches, maybe 23 inches. A lot of Cadillacs today, the bars are getting wider and wider because people are wanting combo pieces of equipment. You can watch our video on how I feel about combo pieces. I prefer a tower reformer combo if you're going to do a combo at all. Ideally, you don't, right? Ideally, you have room for a Cadillac and a reformer, or you have a wall tower. Control makes the wall towers really great, and a reformer. But if you're going to do it, a tower reformer, a reformer Cadillac combo, all of a sudden these poles get wide because they have to. The poles come out to the sides here. Well, now we're talking like, depending on the width of the bed of your mat for your reformer, that could be 5 or 6 inches. Now their arms are this wide. That can make it harder for them to connect to their center. Now the springs are coming from an even wider angle. That can make it really hard to connect to their center. So it could be quite possible that the size of the equipment and the size of their pelvis makes it almost impossible for them to have a stable pelvis. Right. And so that's why Joe gave us 500 exercises. We can do the single leg spring instead of two. We can do standing leg springs instead of lying down. We can do um, uh, the one to chair footwork. High chair is a really great place to teach a stable pelvis because they have the back of the chair to tell them, oh, your pelvis left, right? If you don't have a high chair and you have a one to chair, check out my videos and my flashcards for how to use a short box to create a high chair so you can get that same feedback. But like the through line is if you're seeing something going wrong in an exercise, can you take that thread to an exercise that's similar with a more closed chain? Does it happen there? If it doesn't happen there, it's that they're not ready for the advancement yet of what you're giving them, that instability, and you need to teach it somewhere else. If it happens everywhere, then you got in such a closed chain, we got to go, okay, I'm giving them something they're not ready for yet. I got to get them ready. Last week I talked about or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, like what exercise are we giving people to prepare them for something? I listened to an amazing podcast this week from a dear friend who did Pilates for 3 months. She did a Pilates inspired workout, which is a marketing language for not Pilates. Um, but using Pilates as popularity. And then she did a somewhat Pilates class. And she was talking about how her shoulders were getting sore every day. That is a sign she's not in her center, right? It's a sign she's not in her center. She also said she doesn't, what she wished she could do with Pilates is be able to compare herself like she does in weight training. Weight training, you can repeat exercises and see how much stronger you're getting or how your form is doing. How many reps can you do, right? As the weight going up. And I told her, you can do that in Pilates. If you are using the classical system with the mat and reformer, you actually get to compare yourself to yourself in an order. And as you become more advanced, you get more exercises added to it, but you get to compare your 100 from today, tomorrow, and the day before, right? So you can really see how that's going. When it comes to stabilize a pelvis, the more you're consistent with the exercises you're giving someone to build the foundations, the more likely you're going to get a stable pelvis in the future. It's just going to happen. It takes time. I'm working with a bunch of people in my mentorship programs, and they so badly are like, I want this exercise, which is supposed to help my roll up, to then immediately help my roll up. Boom, I did it. I did the pull up, and it's supposed to help my roll up, and now I do the roll up, and no, oh, it's not better, right? Because it takes time. It's not a light switch. It's not a pill. It's a practice. So, anyways, I hope that this is helpful. I know it wasn't like an exact cue, but my job here is to get you curious about what could help that person. What other exercise do they need, right? My teacher, Jay Grimes, passed away a year ago, and it would be something he would be so proud of is for everyone to actually have more curiosity in when they're teaching and in their practice and not be looking for like the perfect checkbox answer because there isn't one. He supplies is very gray. Anything from our folks at home, Brad? Hello. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let you go. If there's no questions, please go to opc.me/tour. I'd love to see you in person. We are doing a live free class and Q&A for my mentorship program. How many spots are left, Brad? Like six spots left in my mentorship program? Six, seven, just six, only six spots left. That sounds like for next year. We only run it January to September, and there's only six spots left, which is not a lot of spots. It means we are down to like a fourth of the spots left. So you want to go to lesleylogan.co/elevate waitlist. The link is in the chat. Lesley Logan, LESLEYLOGAN.co/elevate waitlist. I know it's long and it's annoying because it's not a .com, but you'll remember it, right? It's lesleylogan.co/elevate waitlist if you would like to get the link to come to the free class and the Q&A, hear from some of my graduates. We're running round 6 next year, and we're really proud of the work we're doing. I'm really, really proud of where round 5 is. They are wrapping up a weekend 4 out of 5 today. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.